So welcome everyone to this joint webinar between Schiller International University and the United Nations Institute for Training and Research on building a sustainable tomorrow, covering the Masters of Science in Sustainability Management provided by Schiller and UNITAR. I would wait some additional minutes for more participants to join, and then we will start the webinar. There's participants joining. I'll wait a couple more seconds before starting. Yes, I see there's already one question saying that the recording will be provided and the webinar will be published on UNITAR's YouTube channel, that I would leave the link here in the chat after the webinar it's finished. So yeah, in UNITAR's YouTube channel, you would find the recording of the webinar. Okay, so I think I'll start now. So hello everyone, welcome again. My name is Miriam Cucarella. I work at UNITAR, the United Nations Institute for Training and Research in the People and Social Inclusion Division, and I will be moderating this webinar today. Among the many partnerships our division has, this partnership with Schiller International University aims to provide career opportunities for future professionals in the areas that are of most interest for the international community, such as, for example, sustainability, which is at the core of the mandate of this United Nations agency that is UNITAR. I am going first to explain the structure of this webinar that will be as follows. So as shown in the slides, first we will receive presentations of the speakers, Mr. Emilio Vera and Dr. Miriam Bernrad. During the presentations, the questions and answer box will be available for the audience to ask questions. After the presentations of the speakers, we will conduct a poll to get to know the audience of this webinar. So what are your interests, your background, your experience? So once the poll has been released, we will have a short questions and answer sessions where speakers will answer the questions that have been asked during the presentations. I hope everything is clear. That would be it. And please use the chat for any other issues that may arise. Our first speaker, it's Mr. Emilio Vera. Emilio Vera holds a degree in economics and a master's in international development and economics from the Complutense University of Madrid. Additionally, he has an MBA from the Instituto de Empresa. He has developed his professional career at Telefónica, where he served as manager of the investors relations area and manager of the corporate sustainability area. Currently, he's a senior consultant for several companies in sustainability and financial reporting. And Emilio is also the director of the Sustainability Master's Program at the International Schiller University. So please, Mr. Emilio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Miriam. Well, I would like to share with you some quick ideas about the relevance of this master in order to understand one of the main drivers of the economic system in the 21st century, and it's sustainability. And why sustainability is offering you a master in sustainability. In this master, we talk about business, strategy, inputs, outputs, risk, opportunities in a world that it's already changing the way to produce, the way to consume, the way to regulate the laws. Everything is changing due to fundamentally two factors that are conditioning what we can call the fourth industrial revolution: technology and sustainability. Can you, next slide, please? Okay. Well, any kind of economic system works in its essence like this. In our civilization, there is a deal between consumers and producers to change goods, services, and remunerations by force of works by capital or by capital. This is just a very, very quite simple example. Of course, there are other players and situations that are affecting the model: governments, suppliers of suppliers, tax consultants, institutions, as Sillers University is, that have a relevant role. But anyway, it's very important to understand that the deal in our civilization is this one. So can we change the slide? Okay, the point is that sustainability is affecting everywhere. Every kind of relationship in this deal between producers and consumers is affected by this new concept of sustainability. There is no way to understand and play a role in the economy of the 21st century, both in the private or public institutions, without understanding sustainability. And in this master, we will give you the knowledge to understand and face it all. We need to change our minds because the climate change, for instance, is about to change all the business models in the world. Without knowing what sustainability is, there is no way to understand the new world of business, marketing, innovation, R&D, financials, commerce, international trade, innovation, everything, whatever you want. Next slide. Okay, let's try to understand what's happening today in the planet and why sustainability has this enormous relevance. The Earth Overshoot Date is the calendar date on which people's resource consumption for the year exceeds Earth's capacity to regenerate those resources that year. It's calculated by the United Nations, and it represents the day by which we spend more than the Earth can provide, when we enter in what we call the environmental deficit spending. Well, Earth Overshoot Day is computed by dividing the planet's biocapacity, the total amount of ecological resources Earth can generate in a year, by people's demand for this year, and multiplying by 365, the number of days in a year, in order to obtain a date. In the year 1987, the first one in which the data was calculated, the EOD, resulted in October the 23rd of the year. And last year, the EOD has been August the 1st. That means that since August the 1st, 10 days from today, we will have expended more than the year can produce. That's the reason why probably you have heard that we need 2 planets to maintain the current way of producing and consuming in the world. And bad news, there is not a second planet to exploit. So we need to change something. Why is happening this? Look at your telephone handset, for instance. Do you know how many liters of water is needed to make just one of them, yours? You wouldn't believe it. 12,000 liters of water to produce just one device. Do you realize what it means? Do you think that the Earth could renew the water resources while our production system expand in this way? So the problem is getting worse and worse because consumption is increasing and population is increasing as well. To maintain the current way of consuming and producing, we need 2 planets to survive for 1 year. We consume many more resources than we should do. Have you seen, this is the reality in which policy and businesses are taking place nowadays. And this is absolutely unsustainable. Everybody knows it. We need to do something. We need to change something. We need to learn how to deal with this inevitable challenge. We need to have the knowledge and the skills to deal with this challenge. We, the humans, need to tackle these problems, and the professionals and decision makers need to understand this issue. This is the reason why knowledge, professional knowledge on sustainability is needed in order to to have new professionals working in both the public and the private sector. Can you change the slide, please? So sustainability is concerned with protecting the planet, the only space we have to obtain the resources we consume. Promoting the social development in order to avoid situations that break the social consensus and allow the people to face a future, and keeping the ethics in the governance of companies in order to generate confidence enough that we need in order to improve the common good for everybody. The concept seeks to cover our present needs without compromising resources for the future generations. In business and nations, this means to be able to keep markets and financing for the future, brand reputation, reduce risks, and create new products and services for the future. All the business strategies for the 21st century need to balance the economic profit with the protection of the planet and the people. That is the reason why we call about a balance, a sustainable development. So can we change the slide? So why we propose you to study sustainability? Today, our way of living and doing business is unsustainable, as we have seen. All business models are changing and trying to adapt to the new sustainability paradigm. That implies new risk, but as well new opportunities that we will show you. Sustainability is not only a matter of knowledge, but a complete way of thinking. The Sustainability Master will guide you to the new way of thinking about businesses. It is a labor sector in wide growth in all types of companies and all types of sectors. It provides job opportunities in a real great growth, while working at the same time for a better world for all of us. Well, this is something important for me and probably for some of you, to get up early in the morning and do something, but you can be proud about to tell to my relatives that what I'm doing since the very early in the morning. Next slide, please. So what will you learn with us in the Ziegler Sustainability Master? You will understand the new paradigm of economic relations in the world of the 21st century and the changes that business models and policy institutions must face. We are going to work with real world challenges and real current business cases with teachers that have large real experience in companies. We will provide the knowledge and tools necessary to maximize the social and environmental impact of an organization, no matter if it's a public listed company or a startup, while at the same time minimizing risk as climate change is, diversity, and so on, and keeping its market and brand position. You will be able to work with these challenges in internship with top companies. Next slide, please. Okay, the duration of the academic course is 1 year, and it's divided in 3 modules. So you can obtain a certification for the first one, and a second certification if you successfully complete the 2 first modules, and the master accreditation if you complete all of them. We start with the pillars of sustainability, following an introduction to the concept, to the subject. And the second model will be more focused on the way to run sustainability challenges in the real economy, the tools, the finance, the reporting, auditing. And the third one will be focused on the proper work and the final dissertation on a specific sustainability matter. Next slide, please. Well, take a look to this slide. Let me show you why millions of new jobs will be offered in the next years to professionals that have a sustainability training. Let's take climate change as an example. Climate change is just one of the sustainability issues. It's not the only one, there are others, but everybody knows what climate change is about. Sustainability is much more than climate change, but it works as an example. This chart represents the Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2015, that's signed by all the countries in the United Nations, and represents a consensus of 95% of the scientists coming from 99% of the universities of the world. There has never been a greater consensus in history on a scientific issue as this is. Experts have been studying the evolution of temperatures and the influence in the CO2 in the atmosphere, and they realize if we do nothing and continue with the same way to produce and consume, average temperature of the Earth will go up between 3.7 to 4.8 centigrade degrees. That means that a complete change in that means a complete change in the climate of the planet. That means that the ocean's levels will increase, that cities as Amsterdam could disappear, that the coral reef could disappear with a correspondent extinction of ocean life. The agricultural activities will almost cut in many parts of the world. We cannot affront an increase of 5 centigrade degrees in the world, in the civilization as we know it. So we must do something in order to put it down. The scientific agreement of Paris agreed to reduce to net zero emissions, what they call carbon neutral, by the middle of the 21st century, in order to have just 1.5 centigrade degree increase. And that's not good, an increase of 1.5, but we could maintain the world as we know it. So it's very important. There is an agreement, all the countries agree, all the companies agree, and this chart expresses the path of greenhouse emissions for the different sectors in order to reach to the net zero emissions target for 2050. It affects all kinds of sectors and business. Any business that use energy or transport must change the way of doing things. That means 100% of the businesses. The companies and professionals that can change the way of working will survive. Those companies and professionals that cannot affront the challenge will not survive. It's as simple as this. This is not a sustainability. Climate change is not a morality issue. It's a survival issue. And the shareholders and financial institutions that are supporting all businesses are putting pressure on these companies, demanding clear strategies to face the challenge and avoid the risk. That's the reason why science, financials, and sustainability strategies of companies and governments need to work together as an only team. Because success for companies and countries will depend on the capacity to create and promote new ways of innovation, resilience, and redirect the investment flows without losing competitiveness. And this is the way of doing business in the 21st century. I don't know how old are you, but if you think about your professional career, could start nowadays, 2025, and can go, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Just you only have to see this chart in order to understand the kind of revolution, I mean revolution, that you will find in any sector, in any way of producing and consuming in any sector during these years. It's a huge opportunity. A sustainability career is a huge opportunity for you because the compromises and the targets established in the world nowadays. And this transition, of course, implies new jobs and new ways of work. Success of companies will depend on the capacity to create new ways in terms of innovation. That's very important. We are living in a crossroad between the new and the old. And you guys, your generation, will live the inevitable change. Can you change the slide, please? Okay, as of today, and it will increase in the future, the market is plenty of job opportunities for sustainability experts in the government and the policy sector, for the analysis and consulting activities in areas as relevant as transport, energy, agriculture, urban planning. New rules and legislations are coming these years to take the challenge. In the private business world as well, sustainable finance, NGOs, technological startups, fashion, food sectors, real estate. Every sector has a role to play to change the way of producing in order to be more sustainable. Of course, in the professional and research areas, we need engineers that need to think in another way, chemicals, lawyers, education, new skills for a new world. Sustainability, as we said before, is affecting the future of all economic activities, and the job market is really reacting to it. Can you change the slide, please? So companies are demanding increasingly profiles with sustainability knowledge for communication, for supply chain management, for human resources. Here you can find some data about the path of growth in the job demand for professionals with sustainability skills. This data is coming from LinkedIn for the search of work in LinkedIn, and it shows you how it's increasing year on year the demand of professionals with sustainability skills. Can you change the slide, please? And well, the numbers says it all, but not only the amount of jobs that are being created nowadays, we are talking about 1.3 million jobs in my country, in Spain, but 24 billion jobs worldwide. But on top of that, salaries are increasing as well, because there is still a few people with this university training that we are offering in this master. Can you change? Okay, so just to finish, when you start thinking about your future, just keep the sustainability master in mind. Thank you very much for your attention, and really open to your questions. And you got my email as well if you, in any other time, you want to tell me something or ask me something. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emilio, for your interesting insights, especially on how sustainability affects us in all aspects of life, and especially when it's related to job and career opportunities, which is certainly the future. Now let's move on to the next speaker, which is Dr. Miriam Ben-Rad. She's known for her extensive research on Iraq and ISO in the Global Academic Chair for International Relations and Diplomacy at Schiller International University in Paris. She fosters global awareness and innovative learning. It's a renowned political scientist specializing in the Middle Eastern studies, and she holds a PhD from Sciences Po. Ben-Rad has authored numerous books and research paper on Middle Eastern politics, and is a frequent expert source in French and international media. Please, Dr. Miriam Ben-Rad, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm really delighted to be with you. As a short addition to what you've said, I've been teaching environmental politics and one course on the Anthropocene over the past years. And you mentioned the Middle East. My colleague mentioned the future of sustainability and related jobs in Spain, but climate change, just to name it, will be a main challenge in a region like the Middle East everywhere. But we have seen this transition from my own field, international relations and diplomacy, towards more and more perspectives on sustainability, which I think makes this program unique. So I'm not going to say too much about sustainability, because I think that the presentation of my colleague Emilio was comprehensive, but I would like to bring maybe complementary insights into what we offer. Next slide. So I wanted to reflect about the two words which have inspired this webinar, this presentation: sustainable. So sustainable, to put things simply, and it was already explained to you very well in details, but sustainable is what is causing or made in a way that causing little or no damage to the environment, and therefore able to continue for a long time. So that's the very generic definition. And tomorrow, we need to maybe also focus on tomorrow. What do we mean by tomorrow? The day after, but also a time in the future that is, of course, that we can anticipate more and less, but that will present new challenges to future generations. And all of this has been mentioned to you quite clearly, quite well by my colleague. So next slide, I'm going to now delve maybe into the content of the program itself. I'm not going to spend too much time because this slide summarizes also what was presented to you. Schiller International University has passed this agreement with UNITAR because Schiller has a very strong commitment to a sustainable tomorrow. So this is something that makes sense to us. And I just want to mention one thing before we signed the UNITAR partnership. I'm sure, Emilio, you remember this. We worked on an eco challenge at Schiller during a whole month. There was an eco challenge month. So we're actually tangibly, concretely committed to sustainability. As you will see, it's not just something theoretical. We are all also committed in our own lives, in our mindset to a more sustainable future. Next slide. So you will, it was well explained to you, the idea is really to train professionals that will master sustainability both theoretically and practically. Next slide. So I mentioned interdisciplinarity. I think coming from the international relations field, as I said, I have seen sustainability, environmental issues take a growing space in the curriculum. It's not something that is that comes from nowhere. This is a strongly interdisciplinary program. So you will, of course, deal with broader issues whenever speaking about the ecology, ethics, environmental ethics. Whenever speaking about global development, you will be brought, of course, to discussing very current issues. There is the practicality of the program. We really want the students to work on actionable strategies and very concrete skills. So you're going to work on translating the concepts into actions, and this happens in the classroom because the model of Schiller is experiential. So you will work in groups. As mentioned by my colleague, you'll work on case studies. You will be working on very concrete challenges to have, in order to make sure that also as professionals, as future professionals, as global citizens, you do contribute to a positive impact on society and growing awareness about sustainability. Next slide. So you have seen the courses. This is the curriculum. You see that there's a nice balance between theory and practice. But I would like to draw maybe on my side your attention to the fact that many modules, many courses are co-offered by Schiller and UNITAR. So your internship, you will be working on a sustainability applied project, and UNITAR on its side also offers a fellowship program, which will further enhance your skills. Next slide. So the idea of this master's degree is to turn you into triple bottom line leaders. So it's not just about making you have a good impact, a positive impact on society through more sustainable practices and activities. It's really about trying to create in you the sense of leadership, taking the leadership on these issues. Next slide. So this is done also through the global perspective that Schiller offers. You will be exposed to very different students coming from all over the world, from over 130 nationalities. We have 4 campuses: Madrid, Paris, Tampa, and Heidelberg. And most of our students, I can tell you this from my experience, are extremely sensitive to sustainability, to these issues, which, as I said, have already been integrated into other curriculum. So we work a lot on with challenges. Our model is based on challenge-based learning, experiential learning. And the idea is to also allow you to follow an employability path. So all along your degree or studies, we will make sure that you become the strongest candidates on the market. And Emilio, my colleague, quite clearly put the fact that sustainability is the future, is probably the future or one of the top sectors in which future professionals will be employed, will find many different opportunities. Next slide. So this is once again the pillars of our academic model: inter-campus experience, experiential learning, real-world problem solving. So yes, you will work with organizations, NGOs, top companies, very concrete practitioners, not just abstract knowledge. It's really about collaboration also. I want to mention that the challenges we offer to our students are collaborative challenges. I mean, the companies, I can also say this from the experience I've gained at Schiller, are interested, they want to work with you. They're interested in your insights, your perspectives. So this is really something that is very beneficial to both future students and the different stakeholders we work with. Next slide. Translating sustainability into concrete action. Next slide. I'm going to say a few more things about the benefits. Of course, the partnership with UNITAR. It's a unique partnership. It's not something that many universities propose. Doing your internship, a 3-month internship, gaining concrete experience on sustainability. An unforgettable graduation ceremony. I just want to say that this is a really important moment for every graduate at Schiller, at any institution, and this is something that you will remember. There is this optional fellowship program, which is a 4-day learning opportunity before graduation, through which you can network and participate in workshops. You will receive official UNITAR certification, which is also something I think quite unique for master students. And you will benefit from mentorship and professional development. So this is, as I said, a unique academic offering from this standpoint. Next slide. So 10 months in duration, the main language is English. You have also the locations here indicated. It's on campus, it's US accredited, and it's 30, the equivalent of 30 American credits. Next slide. Which sustainable impact would you like to make in your future career? I think it's a key question that you may ask yourselves now that you have received all this information. You may start thinking about it. Next slide. And I just want to conclude your attention to the fact that our recruitment and admissions teams are available to answer any question that you may have. They will provide more details about how to enroll, about the programs. You can also contact us if you want more details. We will be happy to answer you. Next slide. And so I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to answer any question that you may have.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Miriam Begbad, for this also very enlightening presentation. I believe that both presentations have shown how important sustainability is towards the future, and universities such as Schiller or other organizations such as the one I'm representing here myself, like UNITAR, we give very much importance to this aspect. Now, in order to get to know more the audience who's interested in this master's, what's your background, I'm gonna launch a poll that I would kindly ask you to fill in. I'll give a couple of minutes for you to fill in, and this is in order to understand who's our audience, if you would be interested in more webinars related to this area or this topic, and how we could adapt more to the needs analysis that our audience has. So please, I kindly invite you to answer the poll. Thank you. So please, if any of the participants would kindly fill in the poll that I'm launching. It's a short poll, it's just easy, short questions.
We're
10
no
questions.
longer seeing the poll on the screen. Is it normal? The window has disappeared. Yes.
Can you
Now
see it
it's
now?
back. Yes, yes.
Thank you. Now I can see participants are starting answering the poll. Thank you. So I repeat, this is in order to know better our audience and adapt our content more to our audience regarding on their interests, their background, their experience, their regional origins, their objectives for the job aspirations. So we'll wait a couple minutes and then I will finish the poll. I've also left in the chat the two websites, the UNITAR website and the Schiller University website with information from the master's degree. There, participants, you can find the brochures with more detailed information, contact information from Schiller, admissions, and also our colleague from Schiller, Ms. Alexandra Aaron. She's been answering some of the questions actively during the presentations, and she's also left in the question and answers box the email for the Schiller's admissions contact. So I've seen that around half of participants have already answered the poll. I'll just leave a few minutes. Yeah. I'm now sharing some of the answers of the poll that we've had. So most of the participants in this webinar are male. They have between 30 and 40 years old, or more than 40, and around 6 to 15 years of experience, or over 15 years of experience. The region where they mostly come from is from Africa, and they have a background, especially in business management and others. I would kindly, if you could specify these other aspects in the questions and answers or in the chat, that would be very helpful for us to understand which is your background. They would be interesting, I think, in equal terms to study either in Madrid or Paris, and they have a strong interest in working in international organizations. And most of the reach from this webinar was through the UNITAR email or social media. Now going to stop the poll and we will go onto the questions and answers. So I see a colleague from Schiller has already been answering some of the questions that people have been asking. Regarding the target audience, or if there is a distance program. So I don't know if any of the speakers you would like to cover who is the detailed target audience of this program, for example.
So, sorry, would you like to answer, Emilio?
Excuse me?
Would you like to answer this first question?
The first one?
It's one of the questions that it regards who is the type of professional or disciplines that this master's degree is aimed at. I think it's a very general question that it's very good.
It's very general. Well, I think that it works better for any kind of economic, social, politics, such kind of things. I mean, it's a thing about a traditional MBA that it's telling you how business are working. I'm telling you about innovation and telling you about marketing and so on. Everything, remember the first slide, everything in the deal between producers and consumers is affected by sustainability. So whatever you want to work in, communication, marketing, innovation, innovation, specifically innovation, because it's the bigger issue, will be related to sustainability. And in order to manage, I'm working in financials markets with my financial markets. So and sustainability is crucial for in order to understand the way of understanding finances nowadays in the financial markets, in the stock exchange and so on. So you can come to sustainability from anywhere.
So this also comes up with the last question that has been asked, which is if there's any necessarily qualified background that you need to have to access this
That's
master's,
right.
but I believe there's no particular background.
Well, I mean, it's not particular. It's good to understand what a business is. It's better to understand what a profit and loss is. It's not a matter of being an expert accounting or financial, but trying to understand how business are working nowadays. But anyway, we are going to talk. We have one module talking about the new business models, and you can start from the scratch.
Perfect, thank you. I see that there's a lot of questions are asking regarding scholarships or visa requirements, and I would kindly remind participants that our colleague Alexandra Schiller, she's providing some answers and a contact email to contact her with more details regarding your particular situation in case you're interested in joining this master's. I also remind again that I've put in the chat both links for Schiller University website and UNITAR's website with more details about these master programs, and that this webinar will be posted at the UNITAR YouTube channel, UNITAR's People Division's YouTube channel. I don't know if there's any other questions or if both of the panelists you would like to add something else.
There are a couple of questions coming from the same guy. And say you talk about the 3P. What about the 5P? Of course, we are going to talk about the 5P, but let us start with the 3P, and therefore we go to the new way of understanding such kind of things. And on top of that, I don't like neither 3P or 5P, but I need to explain it in a classroom, not here. And there is another question about how it links sustainability with 17 SDGs. Absolutely, everything is the same. We are talking about the same. You must take into account that the United Nations deal with countries, with nations, with the agreement between the different nations. And the agreement is to create 17 targets, 17 goals. But at the end of the day, we are talking about the same. We are talking about the main objective is to create a more sustainable world, and we create 17. Of course, in the master, we are going to explain a lot about it, about the compass, about how you can do a program with SDGs, such kind of things. But it's the same. When we talk about the strategy in business, talking about sustainability, we are talking about the SDGs as well.
Thank you.
I think there is a last question from Abbas, who's asking if he's with an engineering degree, if he's qualified to take this master's program. I mean, as was said, it's very interdisciplinary. You can come from many different backgrounds and find interest in studying sustainability, which I think in your case would be a very nice complement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've also seen that there's people that are asking for me to provide again the link of the UNITAR websites. And I don't know if there's any other questions regarding the masters themselves or not. I'm sorry if you can hear some background noise. My apologies.
So maybe I'm just sorry to interrupt. I'm seeing a question about the schedule, the coursework. I may bring some maybe some details. We work on a monthly base at Schiller. So my colleague already answered you, but in terms of format, you take one course per month at Schiller, which is an intensive format. The assignments are very different, but you will be working on, as we said, challenges, case studies. You can also, of course, be asked to write papers, which is something our students do quite a lot for most classes. And so it's very diverse, and you'll be working, it's blended. You work on a platform, a learning platform named Blackboard, where all the course contents, the assessments are centralized, which is also very nice. For the details about how we work and how the course work is organized.
Thank you very much for saying these details. There's also a lot of information regarding long distance and distance learning. I don't know if you'd like to share anything about that. And I guess I've resent the link again. I hope this will works. If not, you can find it in the UNITAR website under the People's Division's Master Programs, or also in the UNITAR website under the Masters or Postgraduate Programs in general. More information regarding this Masters. I don't know if there is any further comments or additions to add.
Yes, I may just say that my colleague, Dr. Aaron, our Dean of Faculty, has shared very important email addresses that you should really contact for as we said, the learning conditions, how you organize your studies, how you enroll. My colleagues are really highly qualified for providing all the details, depending also on your situation.
Yes, thank you. So I'm looking in the questions and answers box and see if there's any necessary background. Again, my apologies if there's any background information. We will also, I remember again, we will post a record of this webinar in the UNITAR's People Division's YouTube channel, so that you could find also the presentations, and I believe we could send also the presentations to the participants that are interested. I believe there are not any further comments or additions. So I thank both of the panelists for this very enlightening information about not only the masters, but also the importance of sustainability in future career opportunities and academic life. And I hope we have drawn the attention of participants to participate in this masters and join Schiller University and UNITAR. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.